Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this week's Question Bound, where I will be asking, well, you will also be asking, hopefully, if you have any questions for our lovely two guests from the Wayward Wonders here in our channel today, who will introduce themselves in a bit. You can leave those in the chat. We're so excited to be here. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves? Blue, you can go first.
Alrighty, hi, I am Blue. I play for Coraline on the Wayward Wanderers stream.
And Kai.
Kai is chewing.
I'm eating dinner.
Nice
hello.
to meet you eating dinner.
Stop. You can't do that. I get fully taken out with dad jokes. Okay. Hi, I'm Kai. I play Val on the Wayward Wanderers. The shitty, emo, tiefling bard pretty boy.
Wow, just describe your character, why don't you? Just give us a whole
Listen, I haven't had
5 words or less.
Yeah, I haven't played him in like 3 weeks now, and I'm just like, this boy. I was up at 1 a.m. last night thinking about possible future RP scenarios with him in the party and crying. So, you know, we're doing great.
It was full of thoughts, is what I'm hearing.
It was just full of thoughts. He basically just needs to have a breakdown to snap him out of the little funk he's in. But, you know, we'll see if that happens.
You're very good at those.
Yeah.
Not a whole breakdown. Not a whole breakdown. You have a breakdown, perhaps?
No, he needs a full
partial
one.
breakdown?
If he has half of one, he's going to be good for like a day and then just cycle back around to being a dick
Okay,
again.
so it won't be complete, is what you're telling me, until it comes all the way full circle.
Yep, just all the way around.
Crying, screaming, thing on the ground. Oh, no. It's kind of theatrics. Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll prepare myself for that. I'll prepare myself for whenever that turning point will happen. But let's go ahead and start. I think the first question, while everyone's kind of putting some down in the chat, is be kind of the one I've asked everyone. What race and class, or what class really, do you think relates most to you as a person?
So I don't know that much about the different classes.
From what you know,
then.
You do the sparky magics. Do you do the sword fightings?
I really like magic. My strong suit is not in like physical combat. I'm much more like, I feel like a bard in the sense of just, since I am a writer and a storyteller, and like I do tend to use words more than like physical things like that. But I also feel like if I were to be in like a fighting scenario, I'd probably go with more like a rogue or a ranger, like some kind of like longer distance kind of, well, not a rogue, I guess, because they're more, well, yeah, rogues are sneaky. Yeah, they're more sneaky, but like I'm much more of like a support kind of person versus like being on the front line. So I feel like bard is good, and like ranger, stuff like that, where it's like I can like step back and help you guys do the heavy
mom
lifting.
friend cleric.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Blue's like a sword.
Blue's just like, yeah. I'm the dad friend because I'm not as nurturing as a mom friend. I just yell
bullying.
at them. It is. I yell at them.
It's a bit,
I'm not like, oh, I'm like, have you drank water today? Get up off your butt. Go drink some water right now. I'm not like, oh,
there's a little bit of insult.
Yeah.
Every compliment is paired with an equal roast.
Yes.
Every action has an equal opposite reaction.
Apparently,
and that goes for roasting and loving as well.
Yep. Apparently, it's because of my Aries moon, according to Blue.
Yes.
The more you know. The more you know. I know nothing about star signs.
Me either.
The more you know.
I'm our resident astrology hoe. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say same, probably a bard. In the way that like I'm a storyteller. That's kind of like what I'm passionate about, is like storytelling. I also grew up doing like theater and music and stuff, so I really connect with bards. But I would also say druids as well, because they are, you know, like nature magic, and I'm very like involved in like environmentalism and stuff like that. So probably either a bard or a druid.
You'd just be Radagast from The Hobbit.
I kin him. I love him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, So one of the questions from chat, this is for both of you. Do you know from the start how your character's relationship is going to be with other characters? So say you get to talk about everyone else's characters beforehand. Do you think you kind of already have an idea of who's gonna like who and who's gonna hate who, etc.?
I would say we have like a general idea when we start out usually, but also I feel like a lot of the times our characters tend to kind of play themselves. like things will happen that we had like no idea were going to happen.
Yeah, I would say so. Like when we first started off, like the first couple sessions that were just like not even streamed or anything, it was just us. I didn't even know Val really at that point. I was still getting to know him, and I hadn't like really figured out his backstory or anything yet, so I just had like a very base character model for him. And so as I've gotten to know him more, it's been really interesting seeing how he relates and how he reacts and interacts with the other party members. And you know, I go into certain situations thinking like, oh, I can see where this is going, and then the other character will just like throw something at me that I was not expecting, and I'm like, oh, okay, and I just have to figure out on the spot, you know, how he would react to that. Like the last session we had when Saint went over to him and was being like nice at first and being like, you know, I thought we were friends and like all this stuff. Like I was not expecting that from Saint at all. Like out of the whole party, I was not expecting that from her. And I don't think Val was either, because they've never really had like any bad blood between them, but they've never really been like that close either. So it was really interesting to see that kind of like vulnerable side of her, and then have it switch back to like the Saint attitude when she was like, you know, confronting him when he was challenging her, and her meeting the challenge and being like, yeah, that was really fun. Like I'm still thinking about that whole conversation. I've rewatched it like 3 or 4 times, and I'm just like, ooh. Vane really surprised me with that one, and it was great. And just like that whole session too with Coraline coming over and intimidating him.
I didn't know she was going to do that until we were already there.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's what I mean by like our characters kind of play themselves, is like as you play, things pop into your head that are like, oh, she would do this actually. Like, I don't want to, but she would do this.
Basically, Val, the past couple sessions, I'm just like, I'm just internally screaming the entire time because I'm like, you're being such an asshole and you're being so difficult.
Stop
and you're just being the worst. Exactly. And I'm like, you know what would fix this situation? If you just talked, or if you were just like nice to somebody, or if you just let somebody be nice to you. But he wouldn't. And so it's really frustrating, but also really interesting to see like how your character would play things, which is why I like hint at people like metagame. I'm like, hey guys, this needs to happen. Like somebody needs to help him, because
we try to keep the metagaming to a minimum, but sometimes for certain plot points, or like, you know, to make it more entertaining for those watching, it's like we're like, so I'm not saying anything, but if someone were to do this,
exactly, I feel like
interesting.
I feel like our metagaming is very much limited to, we pose certain scenarios. Like if this were to come up, certain things could happen. We don't usually like delve into exactly, and we don't usually delve into like what exactly would happen. It'd just be like, hey, you know, if your character was wanting to do this or that, and just kind of like steer the possible RP in certain situations. But again, we don't know what our characters will do in the moment. We don't know what Hulda has planned for us. So it's like, it's just all like we could plan a session down to a T and be like, okay, I know exactly what we're gonna say, here's what we're gonna do, and then it would probably never happen the way that we thought it would. So
most things are like that.
Yeah.
Especially Dungeons & Dragons.
Yep.
Oh, definitely.
That's the fun thing about having a group. Dungeons & Dragons is very much when you it's a group storytelling medium. So it's not just like you can have a plan thinking, you know, okay, we can do this, this, and this, but there's other people playing, and who knows what they'll think of and what they'll do, what your DM will throw at you at any given time. There's so much left up to chance that it honestly makes the story more compelling, not only for you who thought you knew what you had going on, and everyone else to also just be constantly thinking on their feet, thinking of new ways to go about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
it's
beautiful.
definitely. I feel like it's definitely much more fun not knowing. Like, it's nice having little hints at, like, oh, this could be an opening to something. But not knowing is very gratifying as well, because then you get to just
Very
find out in the
lovely.
moment and react, authentically in that situation. So,
I think it's great. All right, so, next question, also from the chat. How did you start cosplaying? And how did you start with cosplay, and where did you get your inspiration from?
I started cosplaying on TikTok, actually. I never cosplayed before. I downloaded the app one day because I was bored and I didn't have a job at the time. So I was like, oh, I'll just download like this goofy little app. Like, people say it's kind of like fine, like it'll just be funny. And then I just found like a couple of cosplayers on there, and I was like, I had friends who would dabble in cosplaying in high school, but it was never really like a big thing. And so I found cosplayers on TikTok, and I was like, I love makeup, I love acting, I love costuming. Like, this could totally be something that I could be into. And so I started out with 2 little OCs, an angel and a demon OC. If you scroll all the way back on
down.
my page, they're still there. It's so bad. Like, the quality is so bad and cringy, but I was like, cringe culture is dead. Like, fuck it. This is gonna be fun. No one's gonna see them anyway. I'm just like, gonna post them for fun. And then I got like 5,000 followers overnight, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, what is happening? So it kind of just evolved from there. So really, all of you guys inspire me to cosplay, and all of my mutuals as well. I feel like we all kind of feed and bounce off of each other inspiration wise.
oh yeah, definitely. So if any of you all know TT Brett over on TikTok, and like Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff, you can blame them for me getting into cosplay, because I've always been like really interested in it, and I always like thought it'd be really cool, because I always loved playing like make believe, dressing up, doing makeup, like costumes, all that kind of stuff. But I never really had the opportunity to really get into it or to do it. And like growing up, my family, we never did Halloween or anything, so I didn't even like wear Halloween costumes growing up. So I never had any outlet for this, which I feel like is one of the reasons I got into writing, is because that was a way for me to like project being different people into writing and that kind of stuff. And yeah, it was something I always wanted to get into. Like, I would find cosplayers like on Instagram and like other things like that, Tumblr, and be like, oh, they're so cool, that looks so cool, I'd love to go to a con. I didn't have anybody that I knew in my like immediate social circle that was also into that, so I never had an excuse to like go to a con, because I was like, I don't want to go by myself. That seems kind of sad and scary.
Same.
Yeah,
Same. I've still never been.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
Still never been.
Same.
I was supposed to
We
go
were
right
gonna do
before
home
COVID.
mat. We were
Yeah,
gonna do home mat, and then it got canceled.
we were like planning like, okay, how are we gonna split the cost? Like, who's gonna be
Yeah.
like, how many people can we fit in a hotel room? Like, who's
Yeah.
buying what tickets? And
It
then
was gonna,
we were
I
like,
paid
oh.
for my ticket to go to Otakon that summer
no.
before COVID hit. I had friends who I was gonna go with. I had cosplays planned. I was gonna be Wooloo and like a bunch of
God.
other stuff, and then it got canceled. It rolled over into this summer, but COVID's still a thing, so I doubt it'll happen.
Yeah.
But it was.
Right.
I was ready emotionally to do
Hopefully
it.
Yeah.
soon funds will come back. I would like
Hopefully.
to go to one.
I miss them.
Yeah.
I would love to go to one. Imagine.
Yeah, I was supposed to meet a bunch
We
of
can see each
like
other.
our mutuals and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so what actually got me into it was finding TT Brett's Tumblr RP, which is like it was like the GIF roleplay that people would do on Tumblr, and they were doing Harry Potter stuff. And I was like, oh, cool, I like Harry Potter. And they were primarily did a lot of like Marauders era content, which is like what I was really interested in, because that's what we knew the least about. So I followed them for a little while, and then I kind of got into their HPRP community like through that, and was like, maybe I could try. And So I threw together like a shitty like cause test. I think I did Remus first, like a little baby Remus. I did like some SFX like scars and bruises and stuff, and was just like here. And then I ordered a wig for young Sirius, and I posted pictures when I got that wig of like a cause test, and TT reblogged it. And suddenly I had followers and people like watching my stuff, and I thought I was gonna have time to like, you know, ease into this thing, and like, you know, it was gonna take a while. I could just figure things out, but no, I just got thrown in head first, and I did that for quite a while, and then I kind of started looking at TikTok a little more and being like, this is interesting. And TikTok was much more friendly to OC content, which was what really interested me, because I was like, ooh, I like canon stuff and like, you know, playing with canon characters, but like OC content is like, there's so much room, you can do whatever you want. So I think that's what drew me to making content there primarily. But yeah, it's been really cool. I'd love to actually do like a full proper cosplay, not just like waist up sometime. Because anytime I'm like, I'll do a new character, and I'm like, yes, I don't even have to worry about the lower half. I can just get a shirt that looks sort of canon.
Yeah.
Most times, I will kid you not, I'm wearing sunflower booty shorts in any character.
Oh yeah.
I'm just living my best life in them.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yep.
Just nobody sees it. There's
nobody sees it, exactly. So I was
part of my character design.
Cosplays.
Yeah,
it's part of my character design.
I basically just do cos tests or like closet cosplays. If I do any like canon characters that isn't like an OC or anything, the only one I think that I actually made a costume for was when I did my Genderman Elsa, and I like made a vest and like a cape and everything. Kind of want to bring him back. We'll see. But yeah, I would love someday to go to a con and have an excuse to have like a full-blown, like, well-done costume, because I think that would be really fun.
Someday. Hopefully when
yes.
COVID calms itself down, it'll be great. But our next question is, do you use your character and the person put in quotations? If it's too personal, you don't have to answer.
Your audio clipped out a little bit.
Oh. Do you use your characters to process your own trauma? And they put in quotes, if it's too personal, you don't have to answer.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Oh, 100%. All of my OCs are self-inserts in some way. Of course, they're changed a little bit to like fit the premise of the story, and like, I'm not gonna like just like throw my trauma like blatantly out on the internet, but like they're all like, there's always a little bit of truth to them, always.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like that's one way to really relate to and connect to the person you're trying to portray, which is like one of the reasons people tend to like, I guess, like choose to cosplay their kins and stuff like that, because it's like, oh, you can really connect and like feel that person's energy. And OCs, it's very much like every OC is like a little piece of me, in the sense that like there's something that I can relate to in every OC. And it's like, you know, for different OCs, it's different things. It's not always like, oh, their angst is what I relate to. You know, it's like a bunch of different things. But yeah, for Val, he's very personal to me. I won't say like it's exact, like his trauma or whatever backstory is like exactly mine. It's more of like an artistic interpretation of like my like fears and like things I've had to overcome, things I struggle with, all that kind of stuff. It's very much a projection of that. Not like, you know, word for word, like copy paste, but it's very much, there's a lot that he deals with that I've had to deal with or currently deal with or struggle with. So yes, exactly. 100%.
Yeah. And same with Coraline, is like, she is very much, and I don't mind talking about this, but her journey growing up in the town that she did, her experiences with Rose and all of that is very much like an artistic like projection almost of like my own journey with like like my sexuality and like people that I knew like in high school, like people I used to be close to and maybe I'm not anymore, and like just growing up and like processing kind of who you are and where like your lines and your limits are. It's a good way to like process all of that kind of.
Yeah, I really related to Coraline's backstory as well because I had like similar
Totally.
experiences growing up, and so
Yeah, and I feel like everyone can relate a little bit in some way.
yeah, we've all had a shitty friend
We've
who
all
we
had a rogue.
thought the world of, and then in retrospect was like, oh, never mind.
Right. Maybe he wasn't that great.
It happens. Oh, so what inspiration did you take to make your OCs? So you're done your characters for this campaign. Where'd you take inspiration from? You know, I just heard something on the wind that whispered trauma. I don't know if that's accurate, but I heard it. Did you guys hear that little whisper on the wind?
You wanna?
You can, I'll go first.
Yeah.
Okay. For Coraline, my inspiration for her, honestly, I am the worst procrastinator when it comes to character sheets. Day of when we first started our campaign, Coraline did not have a name and she did not have a backstory. I was like, I'm gonna make a halfling bard, and then I made a halfling bard, and then I was like, I'll figure the rest out later. so her inspiration for her was kind of like, I don't know, she kind of created herself in a way. Like, as I was playing her, she kind of turned into who she is now. How about for Val?
I don't want to.
You keep taking these bites.
I'm hungry.
Like right before you gotta speak. You just keep taking these little nibbles.
I don't want to say self-insert, but kind of. Just starting off.
I mean, it was a one shot. It was supposed to just be one shot. Who knew it would go to this?
So like I didn't have, again, he was not very well developed at all because I thought he was going to be a one shot. So I was like, okay, I can't get attached to him, like all this stuff. So it's definitely been like as we've gone on and as we've played more games, he's developed more and like gotten more dimensions. He filled out a little bit. But inspiration wise, I would say just he's very much the kind of character I like to play and like to portray and like to see. And so, you know, he's got a little bit of sass. He's got a little bit of, you know, flirtation to him, but he's also like, he can be very genuine. He can be very kind. But he definitely is very fancy. It's just, this is just me projecting all of the fancy fantasy clothes that I want to wear. I'm like, he's going to really care about what he wears and like how he looks. Cause I'm just like, I want all of these clothes, but I don't have them. But he definitely does have, I really like characters that seem very open and like one way. And then like, as you get to know them, you find out that there's like a lot more behind, like under the surface. And Val definitely has a dark side that has been showing through a little bit. You know, parts of it have been peeking out lately. And that's more of like just, again, a projection of like insecurity and like things that everybody deals with. There's all those like, you know, hidden things where like, oh no, I'm just gonna keep this back here so nobody sees it.
We don't need to talk about it.
It'll be fine. We don't have to talk about it. And again, like as his backstory developed and everything, I took a lot of inspiration from classic fairy tales because growing up as a kid, like Grimm's fairy tales were like my favorite thing. Like I would read those all the time as a little kid. It was like basically the only thing I would read, that and like Greek myths and stuff like that. So I took a lot of inspiration from like classic fantasy stories for like his backstory and like how he developed. And then through that, finding out what happened to him shaped him, because it's like, okay, what happened in his past that influenced how he developed, how he now acts, what is he still dealing with, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of different things that go into it. There's not really one thing that inspired him.
Yeah.
Flavor. A lot of to the dish.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. You got
Okay.
lots
Little
of spices.
spice.
So a little bit. So when you started creating your character for Summerbound, what was the first thing you had to put into your character?
For me, all of my Dungeons and Dragons characters they're all redheads.
Okay. You've got a theme.
I don't know why I decided
I think
that.
we know why.
But
I think
Yeah.
I think we're all a little bit aware.
No, but like
Indeed.
every single one, whether they're a ginger or like they dye their hair red or like they all have red hair. So I was like, all right, ginger, halfling, bard. Let's go. Like that. I don't know why that's where I started, but that's where I started.
You have a theme. If you were to
I
put all of
do.
your characters in like a little
my
pot, they'd all
brand.
just blend in. It's your brand.
Perfect.
Redheads. It's the only way to go. Make a shirt.
Exactly.
Make a shirt.
So I had never properly played D&D before, and so creating a character, I was very much like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I was gonna pull a blue and just wait until the very last second and just figure it out on my own. But then our gracious DM was like, if anybody needs help with character creation, let me know. I'll walk you through it. And I was like, please help me. So we hopped on a call, and Hulda walked me through the whole process and was just kind of like, what race do you want to play? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And I was originally thinking like elf, because elves are cool. And I was like, I don't want to be a human because that's boring. So I was looking through, and I will never forget Hulda's roast of me when I was like, ooh, I think I want to be a tiefling. And completely deadpan, she's just like, oh yeah, it's because you're trans. Of course you want to be a tiefling. And I was like, ah! I was like,
Point out real quick that Ree has quoted you saying humans are boring, huh? In the chat.
Yes.
I think
yes, Ree. If you have an option,
as a fellow human, if you're not gonna play like a plain like Steve, like and just make that the joke, then what's the point in being human?
exactly. If you can,
Unless
if you
you
could
just
be
wanna
a-
make
Human
that the
all
bit.
the time. Do we really
You-
want to be human in
yes.
D&D too?
you could be
Yeah,
anything.
there's dragons. Why do I have to be human? Dragons exist.
Exactly. So, yeah, tiefling was pretty. I was like, yes, tiefling.
It's for the
Absolutely.
gays.
It's
Tieflings are for the
exactly,
gays.
exactly. And then bard as well seems like a very like fitting class because it was like support, and I was like, oh, I like that. And
Also
also
for
it
the
has to do
gays.
with like magic. Yeah. Okay. You know what? We know. We've been new. You don't have to keep piling it on. We are aware.
You seem a little upset.
No, I'm fine. But yeah, so there, I would say the first thing, I'm trying to think back to like the first couple sessions, like if there was one thing in particular that I was like, ooh, like I really want like this for this character. I think just like I really wanted him to be able to connect to each of the other party members in some way. Like that was kind of like my goal going into it. I was like, okay, I want him to form some kind of connection or bond to each, but he's still working on it. But like I wanted them each back in that one shot. I was like, okay, I want them each to have like a little moment where he can like connect them in a little way. But yeah, I don't know if there is like any one particular thing that I was like, oh, this. Again, it's just because I'd never made a D&D OC before. So maybe now in the future when I create more, I will have something in mind that I'm like, ah, yes, I want this.
Mhm.
Next question is for Blue. You have a lot experience. You've had a lot of experience with D&D. How have you enjoyed 5e?
I enjoy 5e. I've played one other campaign in 5e previous to this one, but all of the rest of my experience was in 2nd edition. So it's very, very different. You die a lot less, which is great. Yeah, and I feel like it really
That's
leaves
good.
room.
That's nice.
It's nice. My human fighter character, I do have a human character because I'm boring, but my human fighter character for my second edition campaign, she's already died like twice, I think, and they've had to bring her back. So I feel like 5th edition really leaves a lot more room for like role playing and like customization and like making the game what you want it to be, rather than just like like combat heavy and like in the D&D like world. I feel like 2nd edition is a lot more rigid, so I'm really enjoying, which, you know, there are things to be said about 2nd edition. I really enjoy it, but I'm liking 5e so far. I'm having fun.
Okay. If your characters could wear a t-shirt with a quote from the party, what quote would they choose?
Ooh,
Oh,
that's a good one. I'll probably need a second to think about this one.
my first thought was roll
feel
for
like-
sob.
I was just gonna say roll for sob is a pretty classic
That's
one.
just because that's just me projecting the need for a roll for sob t-shirt.
Right. We're working
But-
on it.
I would. Gosh, there's so many good moments. I'm trying to
I know,
think.
right?
Like Val as a character, what he would want on a t-shirt.
Suddenly I have no thoughts and I can't remember.
Yeah,
any
I
campaign.
feel like the rest of the party would put him in a roll for sob shirt just because they're like, you need to cry or do something, and he's like,
feel
no,
feelings, please.
no, with a heart. I feel like he would probably hear about the conversation that happened in one of the off stream. It was like the first stream we did that was like a test stream, so it wasn't like recorded. But Saint and Cadaver tried to talk their way out of a situation. They tried to explain why they were sneaking around the castle in the middle of the night by being like, we were looking for bread because we were hungry.
Where's the bread?
Right.
And I feel
And
like
the bread can.
I feel like Val would hear about that story and wear a shirt that had something to do with bread just to like tease the both of them, just to like spite them. Be like, oh, I love bread. You know, when it's 3 a.m. and I just really want a loaf of bread.
I was thinking, I think it was that same game, but Coraline and Saint had a little moment where Saint decided that she was just going to call Coraline Carrot.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe she would wear a t-shirt that just said like carrot on it.
That's cute.
Or like,
I think that was the
Something like that.
Was that the I think that was the circus episode.
it wasn't the circus episode, it was the one where was it the one where we killed the king? I think it was.
Oh yeah, she called the next session was the circus one or the one after that, and she called her Carrot again. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
feel like that would be sweet.
No, you know what?
I
It's
love
not
that.
a it's
That's
not a
wholesome.
quote. It's not a quote, but Val would wear a Cat Dad shirt. It would be
Oh,
like
yeah.
Cat Dad
Aw,
number 2,
Cat Dad.
and Cadaver would have a Cat Dad number 1 shirt. They would just have Cat Dad shirts.
Oh, I love that. Cat Dad. Which aesthetic or core would your OCs most have? So like cottage core, dark academia core, which kind of aesthetic or vibe do you think your character would have if you had to name it?
Is there a slut
mean,
core?
Is there a slut core? Someone write that down. Put that on a shirt. Is there a slut core? You heard it, cottage core.
Okay,
Quick,
no.
someone got a custom ink. We need a t-shirt. Stat.
I feel like Val's very like royalty core in the sense that he's like very fancy and like he likes elegant things and he likes dainty things. So I would say kind of like a fantasy royalty core would probably be closest for him.
Yeah. I mean, Coraline obviously would be Hobbit core.
Yes.
She's a halfling. It would just be a Hobbit
Yep.
core. Or maybe cottage core if we're going like mainstream with it, but for sure one of those. She's easy.
Yeah.
I'm still
Val.
not over the slut core.
Slut core.
Is there
That's
a
we need
slut?
to make that a thing. You know who else would be in a slut core is Juliana something Pointy's OC, Captain Canton.
Yes. I thought you were gonna say cadaver, and I was like, yeah.
Thinking cadaver as well.
No,
I think cadaver could also
like,
join the slut core. You got one in every party. There should be
Adam
at least
Lambert
one
core?
slut core.
He's like, I
Adam
feel like
Lambert
cadaver is like pretty boy grunge, which is very Adam Lambert. You know what I mean?
Pretty boy
Like
grunge core.
he wears a
alt,
leather
like, pretty
skirt.
boy.
Like
I feel like he's
Like, that's-
almost he's almost cottage gore. Almost.
yeah,
But like
cottage
yeah.
core. Like he's got the nature aesthetic, but it's kind of
right.
but
little
also
more
slut
like-
core. I think he has
Slut
one
core,
foot
yeah.
in slut core and then one foot in cottage
Definitely.
grunge.
Yeah. Again, he wears a leather skirt,
he
an open leather
does
skirt.
wear a leather skirt.
He
Like-
Like
does.
then we know.
And
Val hasn't
Demonias.
gotten
Okay.
a chance really to like
And
dress up.
demonias.
Yeah.
Like if demonias were invented, it'd be cadaver
Yes.
who made them because he wanted really tall
It's true.
shoes.
Yes,
Extra
he's already.
leather
I think he's already the
spikes and
tallest
hilts.
member of the party, and like he wears his shoes makes him even taller.
It's a complex. It's okay.
Yeah. It's fine.
It's fine. Okay. It's fine. We said stability. We have that here. All right. So next question: where do you want to see your characters in the future? Is there a character development you want to happen? You don't have to give away spoilers, but kind of like broadly, happy ending, sad ending, neutral ending. Blah, blah, blah. How do you see them in the future?
I just want Core to be happy.
I love
just want
your
her to love
answer
herself.
so much because my first answer was not going to be that.
You're like sadness, angst. He'll
Well, I was-
probably
I was
die
like-
a horrible death.
I don't
And I'm like,
want
I just
that
want her to
to
be
happen.
happy.
You say that, but I think you do. I think you live for the games.
No, so I think as far as like endings go, well, the question was about endings. It was like something that we want to see happen. I would say so like the whole aspect and idea of like a dark arc for Val is very tempting just because I really love when characters who have always kind of towed the line between like light and dark like stray over into the dark and then have to be like pulled back into the light, and they have that like development and character arc. I think it's really interesting. And Val is
Skywalker
definitely
Flavor.
Exactly.
I'm seeing
Val is
texture there. Imagine
very
betraying your party.
Imagine.
betraying the party.
imagine
Leaving, and then everyone's like,
Can't
"No,
do
wait,
that.
get
Core's
back
already
here!"
been betrayed
And they have,
so much.
and they've got to
Yeah.
drag you back by your ankles to come back. Like, you don't get to betray us, you coward!
that's-
And it's
yeah.
just great.
that's the main reason I would say that I wouldn't want it to actually happen. Like it's fun to play around and like imagine like, oh, what if, but like in canon, if it were to happen, I think it would just be so detrimental to the rest of the
So
party.
heartbreaking.
It would
Yeah.
be really hard, and there would have to be very specific events that would have to happen in order for that to be able to be pulled off and have a good resolution versus Val just either getting killed by the party or by a third party or just like going completely dark. So like as much as I appreciate the aesthetic of like a dark Val arc, I'm like, you know, ideally I don't want that to happen because it would be really difficult to pull off. And there would be
So
be very
sad.
complex. It would be really, really hard on everybody. Something I would
It'd
like
be hard to roleplay as well.
it would gosh. Yeah, I would be full on just needing like a good hour after every session for everybody to be on call just consoling me because I would just be like sobbing and just be like But for something to actually happen, I would really like to see Val comfortable enough to be authentically himself around the rest of the party and not feel like he has to perform for them or like put on an act. I would just really like to see a moment of genuine vulnerability from him. Because he needs it. Oh, he needs it. And I feel like, you know, we're at that point where the other party would be there for him in that situation. Like, it couldn't have happened before now because they were still getting to know each other. They're still getting to know each other, but I feel like they've all bonded enough now to where him being vulnerable wouldn't cause a negative reaction. Like, I feel like they would be there for him, which is what he needs.
They're a very accepting bunch.
Yeah, they are. They are.
I think because probably they're all so fucking weird.
Yeah.
They're like, I can't judge that.
They've all been stuff. It's fine.
Yeah, I think definitely for Core, she, as far as character arcs go, for her to get literally anywhere, she's gonna have to get over Rose. She is still so in love with her and enthralled by the idea of her.
What
that,
if we kill her? Would that help?
I have been playing with that idea. We'll have to see what happens. But hopefully it won't take, you know, murdering her for her to get over it. We'll see. We'll see what the campaign brings.
I hear.
But yeah, so she definitely, that's the first hurdle that we need to get over before literally anything else can happen.
Let's feel like on so we don't give everyone all the secrets. I
feel like development-wise, Cora is just stuck. So she needs to get over that so she can move forward. Oh no.
See, you're gonna give. This is why you have to be careful, because I do feel like the gods are listening, and I feel like they're contemplating.
Oh no, we know
some nefarious deeds.
I have a video planned.
Almost not alone.
You guys know that audio that's like, what's poppin'? Don't mind me just watching. And it's gonna be like the Wayward Wanderers in chat, like discussing our characters and like everything like this. And then it's like we look over and Holda's just like has a notepad and we're like, what's poppin'?
Literally like, every one of these. I'm the one who's just like, what's poppin'? And I'm looking at Holda, who is most often not on Question Bound with us, but you can see her. And then I just hear, don't mind me, just watch it. And taking notes of all the stuff when the people ask you guys the certain questions that give a little bit of sea leaves.
How can I hurt my friends? How can I make my friends
Pulls out a notebook. Pulls out a whole notebook, starts writing notes. Speaking of that, let's move on to the next question. What would be your character's dying words?
Oh shit. Well,
I was very concerned with the chat. They chose angst a minute ago, and I was a little like, oh. Okay.
It's because I'm here, isn't it?
That's fine.
Know. It's okay. You guys can say it.
It's your fault.
But come on now, dying words.
I have purposefully not thought about this because it makes me a little bit emotional.
Emotions are good and healthy.
I actually have a video up on my page of what Val's last words would be to each of the party members.
And it's painful, and it made me cry.
Yeah. Oh, it made me cry too.
I have specifically not made one.
Yeah.
Because I refused.
Yeah. I feel like I feel like just in general, like notwithstanding like where they're at with the rest of the party or like what's happened or anything like that, I feel like Val's last words would probably be, I'm sorry.
All right.
Yeah. I feel like Coraline's would probably just be some sort of like just gush of like love for the rest of the party. I feel like she'd just need to let them know that like if she knew she didn't have much time, she'd just need them to know that she loves them.
I feel like she'd also be like,
actually follows directly.
Don't be sad about me. Like, go live a full life. Be happy.
No. Like No, be sad, bitch. I was awesome.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
her
She's
so
like, y'all
much.
better mourn me, at least for a little bit.
Kai, you thought, and you thought incorrectly. Obviously.
That would be Gwen. I'm sorry, that would be Gwen.
Some people are
no,
like,
no.
dance at my
That would be
funeral.
Gwen.
You should be happy that you should be joyous. Remember my passing and not that I'm gone. Blue chose no. You better cry.
If
You better
I
wear
die
all
and
black.
people are
You better sob.
sad, that sucks.
You better sob for me. You better make me a
For a
statue.
little bit, jeez.
Like, I want a statue. I want a pamphlet. I want a pamphlet. I want you to tell people my words, what I used to say. Like,
Exactly.
Val
you know
would
my
write a
friend?
song.
Biography, a museum.
Val would write a
museum?
song of Coraline, and he would perform it all the
yeah,
time.
you gotta sing it at every town you go to.
But you have to make her
You guys
sound like
go
a little
somewhere?
bit cooler than she actually is.
Oh yeah, we
Oh,
embellish.
yeah,
Gotta embellish it.
In true
Like,
bardic
maybe you
style.
slayed a goblin, we changed goblin to dragon.
She did take
Just a little
down
bit of embellishment.
an elemental, like basically single-handed. Cadaver did nothing.
She
He was just
did.
there.
Cadaver will say that it was him, but it was not. He's a liar.
It was Coraline. Listen, we didn't record the
was
episode,
Coraline.
so
He's a liar
nobody
and a
will
fibber.
know.
Yeah, you
We
have
don't
no
have
proof,
receipts.
but also trust me.
Re-put your TikTok in the chat
Oh,
so everyone can find
good.
you.
Oh, dude.
I
Have
haven't
fun
posted. Yeah, have fun.
Have fun crying over that one video, please.
Yeah.
When
And
you
then
do
leave.
cry, if
I'm
alright.
gonna have just like a
Go back
flood
up.
of follow requests and just be like, who are you people? Oh yeah.
It won't be too. I don't think it'll be too many. A lot of people who are already following the stream follow most of us
True,
if they have a
true.
TikTok.
True.
It's just you mentioned the video. Now everyone's like, well, wait, I gotta see it now. I want to cry.
Now I gotta see. Maybe I'll post it to my Twitter.
Maybe you'll bring back some sobbing. Who knows?
Maybe.
A little bit of tears
Oh,
to salt your food. All right. If your characters got to choose how they would die, what would they choose?
Jeez, chat! Come on! Where are the what's your character's favorite Disney movie questions?
We don't
Come
get
on!
that here. You don't get that. Okay? You guys
I
know
was
the
like,
drama
all
party.
excited. I
I'm
was like,
sorry.
woo!
She got
That's what you get
to
for
choose
being
how
the
she
drama.
died?
This is what you get for being the
Christ.
drama party. Okay?
Oh,
you should have
gosh.
invested in
That's true.
Coraline
I don't know,
wants
ducks.
no part of this. She's not trying to be angsty. She's just going through some stuff. She'll get over
exactly.
it.
So we have to ask the questions. So
it's
if your
'cause
character
Mitch-
got to choose how they would die, what would they choose?
This is because Myth's power is out. She always asks the fun questions.
Old
There are fun
Nick
questions, you
her
just haven't
bed
gotten to them yet.
peacefully,
Old age,
peacefully
surrounded
next
by
to
her
the
loved
love of her
ones.
life, surrounded by her family, after living a long life in her sleep, like very, very peacefully, please, and a very long time from now. Jesus fucking Christ.
Like 30,
Oh.
several hundred years from now.
Yeah, she's
in
gonna
a
have
comfortable
a very long
Tempur-Pedic
time
bed,
from now.
in a memory
God.
foam bed, with a nice croissant next to me.
I don't
like
enjoy causing my characters pain. It just happens sometimes.
It just happens. If Val had to choose, barring like just like natural causes, he would want to die saving somebody, like protecting somebody else, or like dying in their stead.
Always the hero. So dramatic.
He's
What are you, a
listen,
bard?
What is he?
Freaking
Like
bard.
a bard? No, not
Bard
not
complex. What are you?
not for being like a hero or anything like that. He would have just wanted to know that he at least did one good thing before he died. Like,
oh,
Technically,
yeah.
he's done many good
Ow.
things. Technically,
has he? Has he?
that hurt my
I'm
feelings.
assuming so.
Has he?
I would consider them good, but I mean, if you don't, then that's his own perception.
Right, that's a whole
What
other
you guys
thing.
do. That's a whole nother thing. We're not
No,
gonna talk about that.
listen. He has a very skewed perception of himself, so we're working on it. Again, this is the need for a breakdown.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Next question. This is for me as well. Do you
Ooh.
and there are fun questions. We just have to get to them. I promise.
We have
They're
to
coming
wade
in, and
through
there
the
was some at the
angst
end. Yeah. This one is just, do you have any tips and tricks for people who are interested in cosplay? So a few little tips and tricks real quick if you have any.
I would say literally just start. Just do it. Like, even if it sucks and even if it's bad at first, just start doing it. Take what you have in your closet, steal makeup from your big sister, I don't care. Like, just start doing it. Make OCs. Like, do characters that already kind of look like you if you want. Like, just start doing it and you'll get better.
That's how most things work, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I would also say make sure that whatever you do, you're doing it for you and you're doing it because you want to and you want to have fun.
Absolutely.
If you go into it wanting to get a ton of followers or a lot of attention or whatever, if you're not doing it, if your heart's not in it, then the content you produce isn't going to be like, it could be really high quality, but it won't be good in the sense that like your heart's not in it. It's like, you know, you see a lot of like really big creators who are just doing what's popular or what gets them a lot of views, and the videos are boring because they might be super high quality, but there's no heart behind it and there's no passion behind it.
Yeah, you can see through it. People can see
absolutely
through it.
It's so
and
performative.
Also, you're not gonna make a lot of money off of like TikTok, so don't do it for money. Do it
exactly
for like the art
just
and the
like
storytelling. Doing
there's
it
like
you want.
There's like the 1% of like cosplayers who actually do well off of cosplaying. So definitely make sure you know like where your motives are and just have fun with it. Don't care about the views. Like, it can suck, but you know, just keep going and people will recognize when your heart's in it. And start off with characters that are simple and that you really have an attachment to, because they will be a lot easier to make content for. And then you can go on to like more ambitious things and bigger things and maybe characters that are less and less like you, and so it's, you know, you've gotten that practice on how to act or how to get in the character's headspace and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, ultimately
I think what
just
I would say would be what I would say would be same lines, have fun, just start it. Like, what you don't be confused, you know, just start, just do it. Like, there's no, if there's nothing impeding you from doing so, that's not like maybe health concerns or family or, you know, or time, you know, if you have the time and you got your face, you know, that's kind of the main requirements. I think you don't need the fanciest lights, you don't need the fanciest wigs, you don't need the fanciest cosplays, just do it. And if you are doing it for money, that's valid, because some people want like things like this to be their lives. The same thing as like, I really enjoy teaching. I'm doing it also to provide for myself, but also because I love kids. So it's valid if you do want to go into it to make money. But like they say, TikTok isn't the way to do that technically for cosplay, but it is a good avenue for getting a very big platform. That's really what you would want to seek, is a big platform. And that just comes from interacting with the people in your following, making friends, and just keep doing it. The quickest way to be financial in anything is to just do it and continue to grow more knowledgeable about the subject and how you go about it and building up your own brand. Like, that's how content creators get big. Or you're just like conventionally attractive
white person.
That's sad, but you know, but that's another way.
If you're a straight white male, you don't have to worry about it. You've just got to take it in.
You don't have to struggle. You probably don't have to struggle.
Buy a bad Party City wig and just don't wear a shirt.
And people will still love it.
Yeah.
Don't wear a shirt.
And you'll get very famous.
Well, all right. Next question before we get off topic. If your characters were from a different fictional universe, what universe do you think they'll be from? Such as Lord of the Rings, Narnia, Harry Potter. Like, if they were from another universe, where do you think they'd be?
Ooh.
Probably Lord of the Rings. I feel like Core would really vibe in the Shire.
Vibe in the Shire.
She would. She would be friends with with Pippin and Mary and all them.
Yeah, they would be like a trio of troublemakers.
Chaos
would
baby,
cause-
chaos baby.
I love that. I feel like Val would be. I just keep thinking like X-Men. Like I feel like he would be like in like the MCU, but like specifically like in the X-Men, like universe. Because like I automatically think of like Nightcrawler, who I absolutely just love so much, and he's very like tiefling-esque in his appearance, just in like different skin tone. He doesn't have horns, does he? He doesn't have horns. He has pointed ears, different colored eyes,
little pointy ears.
He has like the split tongue and a tail, and all that kind of stuff. So he's very. I feel like Val would be very much like. Yeah. I feel like that probably fits best.
Okay.
Sorry, we couldn't hear you for a second there, but we can hear you now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I didn't see my green thing lighting up, so I was just like, I was just going, ooh, yeah. I didn't want to keep going until I could see it. I knew.
Sound check.
Right. You're back. No worries.
I was just saying, yeah, I don't think that would really work out.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna segue. Do you think you have to be good friends to really connect with your D&D party?
I think it definitely helps.
Yeah.
Definitely
I would say
helps.
it probably helps.
I'd say
But
like
it also can help you become friends.
Yeah, that too. I would say like generally at least like know the people. If you're planning on at least doing like if it's a one shot, it doesn't really matter that much, I don't think. But like if you're planning on doing like a long running campaign with people, make sure you've at least had like a couple conversations just to know if like you'll get along. Because like some people don't get along, and it's not anything personal to either of them. It's just they don't like click. We got really lucky in the sense that like we were all clicked super, super well and are just like, very tight knit. We work creatively off of each other incredibly well. Just like in general. But I would like you don't
we are.
Yeah, small cult. But you don't I wouldn't say you have to be, because like I definitely wasn't that close to Vane. And I feel like Ree, I hadn't really talked that much with Ree. Or Stevie. Like I had like small interactions with them, but I hadn't really like talked to them that much. And like Blue and I had been friends for a while, so I was like, cool. Familiar face. Hey.
Yeah.
And so like I was friendly with the other people, and I knew like, oh, I can get along with these people, but we hadn't had like extensive conversations or like, stuff like that. So it was really fun getting to grow closer to them and like, getting to know them better and stuff. But I would say, just, and it's okay if it doesn't work out too. Like, it's okay if you start out with a party and if the vibe's not there, it's like, don't feel guilty about leaving, because ultimately you're doing it for fun. So if it's not fun, don't stick around. Yeah, exactly.
I think the game I play most regularly, not most, the recent campaign that I'm in that's actually continuous was I met Hulda, and I didn't know Hulda too well, but Hulda invited. It was when you guys were starting Summerbound. Hulda's friend Fergus was looking to possibly start a little campaign, and I kind of knew Hulda, didn't know Fergus at all. He was going to be our DM. I didn't know any of the players. I knew they were cosplayers, but I didn't really follow them, and I only knew Sweet at the time.
Oh, yeah.
So, but we were all like kind of in the same group. We just never talked, except for Fergus. He was just chilling.
Yeah.
We all ended up coming like really close doing it, and I found comfort in having someone who I did know, like one, refer me to being in this group and also being in the group with me. So there's a certain comfort, especially when you're like going to do like a little role play and stuff like that. But if you don't know everyone in the party, it's also helpful if you know like the circles that they're in, the circles that they're in can kind of reflect Like if I was getting a new mutual, I'd be like, oh, who are you friends with? Oh, who do you interact with? Is this similar to who I interact with? And I can feel comfort that we can kind of mishmash very well.
Have the similar vibes.
I was gonna say the previous campaigns that I've played, previous to Somewhere Bound, have all been like people I know in real life, in-person games. It's been like my partner is usually our DM or his boss, and like our friend group, people I've known since high school. So then when we started Somewhere Bound, and really the only people that I knew in our campaign was like Hulda and Kai, I was really nervous about it at first. Or like for our one shot, like Miss Gothic Fairy, who was DMing, I met her 30 minutes before we started the stream.
And you were like, ooh. I think it was described to me by Sweet as like when was doing this one shot that Stevie did for us a little bit ago that wasn't streamed or anything. It's like going on a first date when you first do a new campaign.
And especially like
it's a little like a first date.
And role playing feels it can feel a little bit vulnerable because it's like playing pretend in front of a bunch of other adults, and it's like can feel a little weird. But like Kai said, we got really, really lucky, and like we all really work together collaboratively really well, and we're all very like good, friendly people. So it's worked out really well, and we've all gotten really, really close, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's been really, really good. Yeah, we recently Artful and I actually were just in a one shot together recently, which was great because like I hadn't really like. Artful and I had been mutuals for a while, but we hadn't really like interacted all that much, like one-on-one or like talked to, because I'm bad about that. I'm like awkward about talking to people.
We'll just have to be more campaigns together. We'll just have to play more games together.
Exactly. But so I was really excited. I was really excited to do one shot because I was like, oh, I haven't played with Artful before, so I don't know like what their like play style is gonna be, like how they do their characters, like how the interaction's gonna go. I was very, very excited. And it was great. I had a awesome time. So I was a little nervous to be like playing with like some, because like I knew everybody who was playing, but I'd only ever played with Vane before, because Vane was in the party as well. And so I was like, well, I know how to like interact with Vane and how to work, even though we were playing completely different characters. I was like, okay, I feel like I can like, I know how you roll pretty much. And then with other people, I was like, I get to figure it out, which is exciting and also a little nerve-wracking, but it was very, very cool. I had a great time. So yeah, I would say just do it and
helps to have at
see
least
how it
one
goes.
friend.
Yeah, I was about to say, if you have like at least one friend you know relatively well. Oh yeah.
Especially if you are doing in-person games and going to people's houses, please don't go to strangers' houses.
Yes, please don't.
Please don't do.
I would certainly hope you don't.
Safety.
Okay, let's go on. Yeah. I think we have enough time, maybe do 2 questions, maybe 1, depending on how long
we talk a lot.
takes. No, you're valid at all. I'm chilling. I love to just listen to people talk. That's what I'm here for. All right, so I think a good next question would be the one that you commented on earlier. Someone had asked, what Disney character would your character kin? And what is your OC's favorite character? So if you had a favorite character or one that your character would kin, you got 2 different questions for that.
We have discussed this.
Yeah, we have.
You have knowledge.
In our group chat. Kai, do you want to go first?
Existing knowledge? Oh.
Yeah. I don't want to, like, give away too much. I feel like... So a character that Val would kin, Rapunzel, and I feel like, just for some different reasons, because there's a primary character he would 100% kin, but I can't say it because it would be too spoilery. I think Blue knows. I think we've talked about it a little bit, but yeah, he would. He would definitely relate to Rapunzel a lot, and he would see her as like an idealized version of himself. Just in the sense that she's very creative. You know, she has a lot of different creative outlets. She is like, you know, bubbly and friendly and like all this kind of stuff. And I feel like as far as like if he had a favorite Disney character, it would probably be either Li Shang or Eugene, just because he would think they're really hot. He'd be like, yes. Just, yes. He would also love how awkward Shang is, because he's very, like, his whole, you fight good. He would just be like, oh, you're so cute. You're so cute. let me do the flirting. You just stand there and look pretty.
Oh, God. Don't talk. Don't talk, sweetheart.
Just don't open
Don't
your
talk.
mouth.
Shh. Don't speak.
But Blue, what about Coraline?
As far as Coraline goes, she definitely would kin Tinkerbell, which is may or may not be one of my largest kins as well.
Not could be.
Very, very much so. And then her favorite character would probably be Anna from Frozen, because I feel like she could also relate to her a lot. But again, Anna would probably be like an idealized version of herself. Is like, if I could actually do the things that I want to do, I would be like that. You know, that sort of thing.
I love that.
Okay. It's a good one. You know, this one's simple and cute. What is your OC's comfort movie / show? Someone also asked for food, but kind of pop that in there. So favorite food / comfort movie, an ideal night in.
Well, Coraline's favorite food is shepherd's pie.
Yes.
It's just a good, wholesome, hearty food. So delicious. And then as far as movies go, probably bringing it back around to Lord of the Rings, probably The Hobbit, the
Full
first
circle.
one.
Full circle.
But the first Hobbit movie, because it has such a cozy feel, and it's like they're starting off on their adventure, and like, you know, it's exciting, but it's also kind of like nerve-wracking, but like the bad stuff hasn't happened yet, and it's warm and it's inviting and it's cozy, and it would probably remind her of her home a lot.
Ooh, so Val's favorite food, he probably be something kind of fancy, like kind of something a little bit expensive that he probably doesn't get to eat a lot. And so when he does get a chance to eat it, it's like a treat, you know. I would say probably some kind of like expensive meat and like sides, something like that. Like, I don't know anything specific, but like it would be something that's like a pretty expensive meal that like you don't get a chance to have very often, especially like, you know, there's not everybody, like not just anybody could prepare it. Like you have to know what you're doing and all that kind of stuff. So he's probably like something more like that. And as far as like a favorite, like a comfort show or movie, I'm like, you know, anytime somebody asks like, what's your favorite movie? And it's like, you instantly forget every movie you've ever watched in your entire life. Your brain's just like
every single thought left your brain,
empty.
And then like maybe one comes in, but it's not your favorite. It's just the one that happened to stay.
Right.
It's just Lord of the Rings is the one that always just stays in my brain because I watched it like so pretty much every Sunday my dad would take a nap in the afternoon and he would put on Lord of the Rings to fall asleep to because he'd seen it so many times he could just have it as like background noise and fall asleep. So us kids would just like sit and like watch it. And we'd have to be quiet because Dad wasn't sleeping in the same room. So we'd just like sit really close to the TV and we'd watch it. And like my brother, the brother who's closest in age to me, we would like quote the whole movie like as it was going. We'd like quote it back and forth to each other because we just knew all the lines.
Just, like very
we'd watched it so many times. So that's the story that always pops into my head. But I feel like for Val, it would be, as far as like a comfort movie, it would probably be a Disney movie. It'd probably be I feel like he'd really like Beauty and the Beast, and he'd really like that story and connect with it a lot.
Aesthetic too.
Yeah, because like he'd be like, ooh,
like
he's
visually beautiful.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of like artistic visuals that go into it, and like he probably relates to both Bella and Beast in different ways, and so seeing them and their interactions and stuff. Also, just like that library, like he would probably watch the movie just to see the library scene, like over and over again, just be like, oh, all those books.
Don't we all?
Yeah, just like all those books, because Val's childhood.
But which version? The animated one or
the
one
animated
with Emma
one.
Watson?
The animated one. Yeah.
To note that the chat, when you said fancy food, were like trying to list things. So people were like French food, steak, seafood, puffer fish, that weird fish that kills you if it's not cooked properly. I think it's called stonefish, roast chicken dinner. Like they were just going with food.
No,
like,
I feel like
time
it would
trying to figure out where you were going.
It'd be something like
like
some kind of fillet and like
filet
a fancy,
mignon,
like
filet
red
mignon.
balsamic reduction sauce with like, you know, like something like
wine.
that, you know. It'd be like bougie,
accompanying wine.
Bougie
some
shit,
sort of aioli, really which is just fancy mayonnaise.
Yeah,
You're fancy. Okay,
absolutely.
All right, fancy, man.
But yeah, I feel like
Subway meatball sub.
Subway meatball sub. Oh no. Oh no. Val is a food
rarest
snob.
of delicacies.
He's a food snob. He'll eat whatever that he can get, but like he definitely has a preference for good fancy food.
That's probably why he learned how to cook, because he's like,
yes,
if you can do it,
absolutely.
Let me do it.
Like it's like
sure.
Again, the fact that Val is Schmidt when they're cooking Thanksgiving dinner, and he's like, ha! He's like, don't nobody move. I gotta do this.
He just is thing.
He's like, don't mess with stuff. I'll do it. I have a system.
Valid. You're valid. Sometimes you want the sad food, so you go ahead and you may learn how to cook so that you can provide for yourself.
I feel like his comfort food would be potatoes.
Mignon.
Like if he needed like comfort food, it would be potatoes.
As is all of ours.
Exactly. I feel like him and Gwen relate on that a lot, because he'd just be like, it's something that's like potatoes are usually cheap and you can prepare them in a lot of different ways, and so it would be like a convenient comfort kind of food for him. But yeah.
I think with that, we'll be going ahead and wrapping up today. Thank you everyone for coming out. Thank you, Kai and Blue, for being here and answering all these questions, even though some of them came for your soul.
They did. They really did. Yikes.
I'm gonna say that we'll be back again.
Yeah.
We'll be back with another Question Bound next week. Be sure to follow us on Somewhere Bound on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram to be updated on the things that are happening. This Saturday will be the Brutal Brotherhoods at the same time we started this, but on Saturday. And we're also going to have a guest star, Too Hard the Bar, be there playing
good.
So you should definitely check it out, especially if you know him. But I think that go ahead and end. Thank you all for coming here for chat. Thank you two for being here. And I hope wherever you are, wherever you may be, whatever time it is, that you're having a good day, night, or anything in between. And love you.
Thank you all. Bye.